if it was like one time he's going to get help and his lady's staying with him and she's standing by him, that type of thing, I'm like, I ain't canceling him for that. Like, I can't care more than you, boo. I'm sorry. Like, so there's also that. So it really is just kind of, it's case by case, man. So many hot takes in that.
Yeah. We... What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Join my co-hosts, Razi and Buff. Fellas, tell them what's on your minds.
Well, I want to start with Jerry. R.I.P. to Jerry Springer. He gave us so much entertainment, either in video production, we used to watch him there, or when we were homesick, because we didn't skip school. Homesick watching Jerry Springer gave us so much entertainment almost every day. But it was great times. Anything y'all want to say anything about Jerry before we move on?
That is kind of funny how so many people our age watched this show before DVR, and it came on during school hours. So it's like, how were we able? How did you know what was going on the show?
Yeah. That was me and Lorenzo, or should I call him Big Renzo? That was our show. So we watched a little Jerry Springer, which came on. I can't remember if it came on right before Young and the Restless or right after Young and the Restless. But that was many a day.
Yeah, it was 10. The Young and Restless used to come on around lunchtime. Yep.
Yeah. Eat us a Hot Pocket and watch a little Jerry Springer and Young and the Restless. And if we got bored, the cult classic Players Club. No.
So I'm so bored, I'm gonna go back to school.
you made me think of something else, Ferg. Did anybody ever wait for their Hot Pocket to cool off? Or did you just bite it?
They didn't call it Warm Pocket.
So you got to
burning your mouth inside.
Especially the with meatballs and mozzarella.
Oh my god,
that meatball is not real meat, and so something about it gets hotter than what it's supposed to. Oh man.
So yeah, man. R.I.P. to Jerry, man. But I think Jerry went ahead and passed away because he knew that Carolyn Bryan Donham was dying, and she was gonna be in there to maybe walk in, and he was like, hey Carolyn, look who we have behind the doors. So if you guys don't know, Carolyn Bryan Donham was the lady who whistled.
She accused Emmett Till of whistling.
Yeah, God, I couldn't. But yeah, she accused Emmett Till of whistling at her, causing him to be lynched. And so, her. All I gotta say about that. And along those lines, while I'm on my soapbox, I want to say Raddish. It's this app. They scam me, man. So it's Raddish, whatever. It's supposed to be like a kid HelloFresh thing where like 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds can get some recipes and like be able to cook and stuff like that. And Sophie loves to cook. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna sign up for Raddish so that Sophie can cook something. $160 for a 6-month subscription. Have you guys ever used HelloFresh or anything like that? The food comes, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I get a box in the mail. It's a freaking apron and some recipes. They don't send the food. For $160, one time a month, they send me 3 recipes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Can't you? You can Google that, though, right?
I can. That's exactly what Sophie said. She said, I could have Googled this.
So for $79.99 a month, Razi, I can send you 4 recipes and some an apron one time and some plastic spoons and forks. I'll send you a spork. some sporks, and you still would be better off.
Yes, I probably would. I was so mad. I was like, how if you're only sending it to me once a month, there's no way you can't send me the food to go along with that, as HelloFresh does. HelloFresh sends like whole meals for like $20, $30. So there's no way that they don't do that. And so I was super pissed. But it's on me because I didn't read the fine print. I just assumed that the food came with it. But yeah, I have been on, they got me, they did the little Facebook ads or whatever. And so that's how I ended up buying it. So every time it comes up now, I have been on it talking bad about them. I mean, I know they're getting tired of me. They probably deleted my comments because I've been on them hard. But yeah, do not fall for it, listeners. Raddish will screw you over. So that's all I got, man. I'm heated at that. Ooh, I'm heated at that.
I will help you in your campaign of dissing them. Remind me to look them up on Facebook.
All right.
All I got is we talked about Snowfall last week. Another show I wanted to just briefly mention, Bel Air. They wrapped up a couple of weeks ago, and man, like I keep saying, one of the best shows on TV right now. Ron and Disney are still going at it. For those of you that don't know, Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, passed a bill that many call Don't Say Gay. Disney came out and very almost timidly. They just pretty much, it's not like they went hard in the paint. Disney just was like, we don't really like this law. It was equivalent to that. This loser got mad, decided to punish them. So Disney played it cool, wound up fleecing him. They outsmarted him. So then he got mad again and said, we're going to build prisons near Disney and all this other stuff. So now Disney is suing Ron DeSantis because they're saying, hey, he is holding our free speech against us. We spoke out against it and now he's trying to punish us. So look out for that to play out in court. And a lot of people say Disney have a good case, so we'll see how that goes. And also Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch pissed off a lot of, how I want to put this, redneck fishing, Kid Rock, MAGA supporters, man. They, I don't know if they had did they have a gay person on their bottle or they just put the gay flag on?
They put the flag. They made a rainbow. They did a rainbow, bottle. That was it.
The rainbow. And Kid Rock took a case of Budweiser and shot it with an automatic gun. You know how bad you gotta be to do some shit like that, man. So that's what's going on. People are pissed off at Budweiser for, I guess, pretty much saying, hey, we include trans and gay people. And people are saying, hey, they should know their audience. They should know better. They don't even drink Budweiser. Why are they doing this? People just look for a reason to get mad, I guess. I don't know.
Gay people can't drink Budweiser products?
No, they can't. But they can drink. They can't drink Bud Light either. That's what it was.
Mike's Hard Lemonade or something.
It was Bud Light.
Yeah, it was just Bud Light. Yeah.
I don't know. We find stuff to get mad at because I always try to figure out how does this affect you, and why does it anger you so much? Don't buy Bud Light. It's not anti-hate.
Or the gay cans. You can buy Bud Light and not buy the gay cans.
But then they're not going to support it at that point. They're going to just boycott. Of course, they're boycotting. But it's just okay, boycott.
Cancel culture? Oh my God. Not the right.
It won't last. But the thing about it is how do you develop a disdain for gay beer cans? Where does that come in? How do you develop that? It's I come from a long line of gay beer can haters. My great grandfather was a gay beer can hater, and his father before him and his father before him, because in 1864 we had the first straight gay. What the hell? Why are people so upset about something like that? It's not anti-hate. When you're trying to oppress somebody, I hate it here sometimes. Oh man. Yeah, that's crazy. What else is going on? Any political news outside of DeSantis? Trumping?
For some reason, man, RFK Jr., he's climbing in the polls. Like, not enough to where Biden has to, like, start putting out ads against him. But he's polling at consistently, like, 19%, as high as 21%, which is enough to take notice, at least. So, and his favorability is higher than Kamala Harris, and it's higher than Trump's. I think Biden only beats him by like 4 points in favorability. So it's just going to be interesting to see if he continues to climb, or has he topped out at the 19-20%. But there's just something to keep an eye on, because a lot of his supporters are fighting for Biden to at least debate him, and for an incumbent president to have to go through the primary process is kind of rare.
Yeah.
So are we still talking about DeSantis and how horrible? I just felt like we were going to keep going. I didn't know we were going to talk about his anti-transgendered bills that he's putting into place.
Yeah. So much so that Dwayne Wade said he doesn't feel safe. He's moved to California now, man. It's DeSantis, I think, may not be the political figure that I thought he was.
He just came in hot.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the media props him up higher than he should be.
I think he's finally he peaked too early.
Yeah.
And so people got to start putting eyes on him, and then like, hold on. This is a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, he's not politically smart as we thought. That's really what it is. It's like when you talk about he peaked early, it's he came in thinking that he was going to be Trump 2.0, but he's Trump. He doesn't. What I can't remember the news analysts, they were saying, why pick Trump light when you can have the real thing, right? And that's really what it is. There's no reason to look at him when you can get all the brashness, you can get the say whatever, you can get I'm gonna toe the party line and everything with Trump, and you don't have to worry about him going after, because that was one thing about Trump. Trump will say all this crazy stuff, but he didn't really target anybody in particular, like to try to retaliate against them. Like his thing was like the most random stuff. I'm gonna go against the country or whatever. It was like he didn't go against like individual companies and stuff like that. He really was a business friendly president. So I don't know, man.
He just talked a lot of noise and made a lot of. The biggest thing about Trump is he made a lot of people too comfortable to be the worst versions of themselves. DeSantis he's a one-hit wonder. I mean, and his whole thing, well, 2 hits. It's anything dealing with the LGBTQIA community.
Anti-wokeness.
And anti-woke. Yep.
Yeah.
Anything that, it's not even politics. It's just anything that disturbs the conservative mindset, your conservative sensibilities. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about taxes. We're not talking about any of that stuff.
Yeah, he took it from Ted Cruz. I mean, Ted Cruz did the exact same thing. It was I'm gonna hit those points that, like you said, that riles the base up.
They get you passionate.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, I'll always talk about those.
Oh, how can I forget Justice Clarence Thomas?
What happened with him?
His bribes, or not his bribes, his gifts.
Well, yeah, there you go. Good correction. His gifts.
Oh, I haven't heard this. Do tell.
Oh yeah. He has a So there's been a push to have like a ethics investigation, and at best and at worst, at least establish a new ethics parameter for Supreme Court justice. Because right now they kind of, they do, but they kind of don't. Like, Supreme Court justices are pretty much left alone for the most part. So the Judiciary Committee has been coming together and discussing that. But yeah, he has a billionaire, I guess, donor or whatever that has like paid his son paid one of his kids private school tuition, bought a house for him, flying him out on his private jet and to his yacht and stuff like that. So, and he didn't disclose it. That's like the big thing. Mm-hmm. Like if they get these type of gifts, they're supposed to disclose it. He didn't disclose it. And as we know, when certain cases come before Supreme Court justices, you want to know if they can be impartial or not. But I don't think anything's going to happen to him, though. That's the sad thing. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because something should have happened to him after the 2020 election, like with his wife pushing, pretty much pushing the same thing that 45 was pushing, man. So it definitely need to be more of a concrete way to investigate justices. But I will say this: the liberal justices on the court, I guess they can't say much, but you never know who all has something with them, so they may also be like, y'all be a little quiet on that.
You don't want to open up Pandora's box. You don't want to.
I remember when a congressman from Louisiana, the FBI found some money in his freezer. Y'all may remember this, and he was like a Democratic congressman, and even the Republican congressman was like, "Hey man, hey. We don't need that kind of stuff. That's, y'all need to chill out."
That ain't even important. Y'all worry about the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's like, what y'all doing in this freeze anyway?
That would be the best. The best reality show ever would be Politics.
Yeah.
The House. If you just see, you go in offices and all that stuff and you just, the fights and all, that's just, it's reality TV. What I want to spend the weekend at Justice Thomas's house. I want to hear how many times he talks about niggas and like I feel like there's some great conversations that you're like, I can't believe he just said that. I feel like those are conversations. I remember when I was young, and I won't say his name, but I remember being at the church or leaving the church or something, and I was walking by and the pastor was talking to his wife and he cussed and said something like, "I'm tired of this shit." And I, as a young boy who thinks the pastor is God's disciple, on earth, is using his word, and he sees me, the wife look at me like, "How could you do that?" And he looked at him and the boy got to learn someday. That kind of stuff happens. Obama did it. Clarence Thomas, I want to see the behind the scenes. It's like the training camp for NFL. It's what is it called? That's on HBO. The
Hard Knocks.
Yeah. I want a Hard Knocks.
Have somebody mic'd up.
Yeah, I want Clarence Thomas mic'd up.
Yeah, that would be funny.
But they clean up their act.
Trump up.
They clean up their act. When they know they mic'd up. That's the problem. Yeah,
but in the heat of the battle, because we've heard you've heard people come over the mic and say when they had the mic in front of them and think that they didn't put the mic on mute. In the heat of the moment, you're gonna slip up. It's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got, fellas?
That's all I got.
That's it, man.
Okay, let's go ahead and we got Sophie for a joke.
Yeah, man. Let me go grab her.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Hey, Sophie.
Hello.
How goes it?
It goes great.
Oh, nice. Like it. Now, you promised us a good joke this week.
Yes.
Last week, you promised us.
I did.
So you ready?
I did. I will keep my word. How many lips does a flower have?
How many lips does a flower have?
2 lips. I'm joking. It's great.
Nice.
Got that Ferg, got it.
You saw Goddaddy Ferg.
Yeah, you said
That was a good one.
yes.
I like that.
That was a good one.
But you only said 2. It was 2 lips. It was hilarious. It was better than your 2.
I didn't want to say it out loud and spoil it.
Well, no, that's the whole point of this. You're supposed to try to get it, and then if you don't get it, then you lose.
I did.
No, it's not a competition. It's a joke.
It is a competition.
You know what? I'm with
They're
that.
trying to win.
I'm with it. Yeah, we want winners.
If they don't win,
You're not first,
they're not win.
you lose.
You're not first, you're last.
You're
You
last.
gotta get good.
It is.
Gotta get good. Goodbye.
See you later. Buenas noches.
All right. Well, welcome back to Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. So you know what time it is. It's a question time. Remember, when you hear the questions, we hear the question. So last week I didn't get to do my question, so I'm gonna start off. First of all, I'm gonna do something a little different. Since Sophie gave us such a great joke, I'm gonna go this way. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
2 shots.
2 shots.
2 shots through the door. This is what happens when you knock while black these days.
Yeah.
About 2.5, 3 weeks ago, we had a young man knock on a door mistakenly and received 2 shots through the door, one in the head and one in the shoulder. Luckily, this young man is still alive. And you guessed it, people, he was black. And one last guess about the shooter?
Was he
Old and white.
I mean, I guess mass shootings is boring now. So we just got to figure out how to keep the gun conversation interesting. So we had a young man that was mistakenly went to somebody else's house and knocked on the door. And according to the shooter, the young man pulled on the door and tried to open it. According to the young man, he did no such thing. Either way, this young man was shot twice, and luckily he's alive. And so my question goes back to, we talked about this so many times, the stand your ground rule. And now this is, I think it takes it a little further, because I think this is what the castle law or something like that, where you can
Castle
defend your
doctrine
home,
or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. What are your thoughts on this? How far does this go? Is this man, does he have a case? Or
so did the law change? It was always under my understanding that you had to wait until an intruder actually crossed the threshold of your home. Like, you can't shoot somebody in your yard or in this case at your front door. Did that change?
I don't know, because I think the law is different in each state. Similar to the stand your ground, there's little nuances to the law. So that's something very interesting. But I agree with you. Was this a true threat? Just because somebody rung your doorbell? Because the reason I asked is because we had this conversation at my barbershop the other day, and we had an older gentleman. We had actually 2 people like, well, if you come ringing my doorbell, I don't like people ringing my doorbell anyway. And so if you come to my door, and I don't expect you, then you might get shot. I had to, my nigga logic, radar and sensors were going off. It was just an overload of nigga logic, and I just couldn't stand it. And I told him that was nigga logic. I never met this person before, but I'm like, "Dawg, you're using nigga logic right now." You just can't say because you feel like it. Well, they don't have the right to be on my property. This is private property. This is private property, but it does not give you the right to shoot anybody. I'm like, that could be the Domino's man at the wrong door, UPS, Amazon, Jehovah's Witnesses. There's so many people who may ring your doorbell or knock on your door mistakenly. You know,
it's crazy too, because somebody posted a screenshot where they were asking FedEx where was their package, and FedEx was like, "We delivered. Can't check some of your next door neighbors and across the street. We may have delivered it to the wrong address." And he's like, "Man, I'm black. I can't be going to different people's front porch. What's wrong with you?" That is nigga logic or whatever you want to call it, because, you know, in this day and age, you have people making deliveries. You have people that just simply may have a question. This actually happened a few years ago. I don't know what time of day this shooting was, but the shooting, I want to say it was in Wisconsin or somewhere, but it was like at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I think this guy's car broke down or whatever, and he was like looking for help and knocked on somebody's door and got shot. So this has happened not too long ago before, but I mean, from what I could tell, because I got to be honest, man, you ask, are these shootings getting like boring? You guys know how I feel, man. Like I have so much, I'm just defeated when it comes to this. I just feel like we'll never do anything about it. So it's almost hard for me to like pay attention to every single one. Like before you came back, Razi, with Sophie, me and Ferg was talking, like Atlanta had a shooting yesterday, a mass shooting. And then in southern Georgia today, I think 4 people were shot at a facility somewhere. So it's like it's almost hard to keep up with. So I don't even know all the details on this other than what Ferg said, but from what I just heard, you can't shoot somebody just because you don't want them knocking at your door or ringing your doorbell.
And I mean, the big thing about it now is he's trying to say it wasn't racially motivated. It's like, is this the first person who's ever rung your doorbell unannounced?
Right.
You know, but it's just so crazy because people feel, and I don't even know if it's racially motivated these days, because I just feel like people feel so entitled or they rationalize their decision making. So I think that same week, there was a woman shot and killed for turning around in somebody's driveway. So I'm not even out the car.
Wow.
You know, young white lady. So
and that shooter's going to jail. And the older guy, that shot the young man, I think he was arrested and he's out on bail, and they don't think that the charges are going to stick. They think he's going to get off just by it being his house and him saying, but because like you were saying, Buff, I traditionally or usually what you hear is they have to be in the house, but if they're forcing their way in, that you can shoot them. And so that's why he said he was jiggling the door or whatever he was trying to enter. That gives him that kind of leeway to say, yeah, maybe he was trying to force his way in or whatever. And so I think he may end up getting off, unfortunately.
The young man, was he armed with anything?
No. So the thing about it was, when I say it was a mistake, so his mother, he was going to pick up his siblings, younger siblings. So I forgot the address, but imagine somebody telling you, go pick up your sibling at 123 Main Street. But they meant to say 123 Main Ave. So you go to 123 Main Street, go knock on the door because you feel like you're supposed to be there, and you were just really at the wrong location. And that's essentially what happened. He went to go pick up his siblings. So I don't know, you know, you're the only child. So I'll tell you, as a older brother, and Razi, you can back me up, I've never gone to pick up my younger siblings carrying a gun, because that's just not what older siblings do, to go pick up the younger siblings. I don't know if that's just that's a generational thing. You know, sometimes we talk about things are changing so much. It's a different generation. I'm assuming that this young man wasn't armed. I don't think things have changed that much where he wasn't armed to go pick up his siblings. I don't know. I can't say he wasn't.
So Razi obviously is right. Anytime it's a white perpetrator and a black victim, the white person has a good chance of beating the case. With that said, he should not. Mm-hmm. Like there's not even any circumstantial evidence to even back up his claim, because 99.9% of people that have the balls to break in somebody's house is going to have a weapon. So the fact that he didn't, but we'll see what happens. I hope.
Yeah, I mean, I know you haven't heard about that.
I've heard about it, but I didn't pay attention. I have heard about it, but I didn't pay attention to all the details. I do want to ask this though: with so many guns that we have in this country, we have so many guns, are we getting to a point that people have these guns, other than going to the range? At some point, they're dying to use them. They're looking for a reason to use them, and something as simple as turning around in somebody's driveway or knocking on your door gives them the reason. It's like a toy. Like, you don't buy a toy just for it to sit there. You want to use it at some point. Are we getting to that point?
We are, and not just on that. There's also the mentality that somehow violence is worse now. Like, people always talk about, oh, it's more dangerous now than it's ever been, and you hear that from the media and stuff, and it's not. Factually, that's incorrect. When you look at statistics, it's actually safer now per capita. People die less. You have less violent crime, and it's especially depending on the area you're in. It's just factually untrue. People talk about, oh, they're kidnapping all the kids, and so parents won't let the kids go out and play in the yard and in the front yard and in the street anymore. It's like, no, they're not. It's just that because we have access to so much media, it used to be that you only heard about it if it happened right in your area, right? You didn't hear about national news. You didn't hear about a county over, a state over, that somebody got kidnapped. Now you hear about every kidnapping in the United States almost, right? And that's where we're in this 24-hour news cycle. Everybody has to be in the know. Everybody is rushing. You're on social media. So you're hearing about a kid that got kidnapped in California. So you hear about it more often. You think that, oh, it's more of it, but statistically, it's actually safer today than it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So there's that too. Oh, I'm scared and I'm really fearful for my life because it's so bad. And like you said, I got this gun and because I needed to protect myself, and that's what they told me. And so I'm scared. I got a gun. I'm gonna use it. So it's a little bit of all of that wrapped into it together. Ferg, you looking it up because you don't believe it?
And I guess it's
I think what it is we've had a slight uptick. So compared to 5 to 10 years ago, it was almost at an all-time low. And now we've had a slight uptick, but it's still lower than it was, like you said, 30 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe certain crime is up, or there's new waves of crime. I think mass shootings, I just don't and because that's what we started talking about earlier, with Texas and Atlanta and stuff like that. I think things like that are up. We weren't seeing school shootings and just every other day, because I think a mass shooting is is it 2 or more, 3 or more people die or shot outside of the shooter. So things like that are up, and you're right. It's the media shines a light. We're more sensitive to it. We're more aware of it.
It was happening before as well. It's just they named it a little differently. But I mean, you had gang violence and drive-by shootings where you had the considered mass shootings. You had before then it was mafias and stuff like that where there was turf wars and there's been mass shootings before now. I think maybe what you're talking about is just a random person going up and it's not really criminal activity. Because
we're talking about, there's a difference in criminal activity. To me, criminal activity and mass shootings. You just, in 1992, I wasn't worried about if I was a father then, I wasn't worried about my 8-year-old daughter getting shot at her school. Those things weren't as prevalent now, where people are walking to random elementary, middle school, and high schools and just shooting up schools. It's now if you would have said they walked into a drug house and robbed a drug house, yeah. I was scarier to walk down the street in 1992 than I was in 2022. because of the drug trafficking and drug wars and stuff that was going on around that time. But, like these, I don't even know if are they even considered crimes right now? Because do they consider these people criminals?
Yeah, I mean, they
feel like that's another thing. They downplay it. They try to use the mental health because they don't want the guns, right? It's like we go to mental health route so that we don't have to address the gun problem. So that they lean into that. But yeah, they're considered criminals just like everybody else. But it's I hate to say it, but it's based on who the shooter is. They're going to play it very differently in how they describe that shooter. And I think it's a little bit of that too. Like now there's a drug epidemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now I agree with what Byron said last week. There's always been drugs available, but I think the drugs that these kids are using are crazier now. A little crazier now than they were. But it's just, it doesn't matter until it's the right people are hurt. I think I was telling Razi the other day, they need to come up with a movie similar to Fruitvale Station, where they show the young man going about his life, because so many times we look at victims as just like these one-offs, and you don't think about them as the person who was behind you in line at Starbucks today, who was picking up Starbucks for his daughter and that was going to see a soccer game. Like I know sometimes I have a hard time personalizing these people, and just like 6 people were shot and killed in Atlanta today. You're like, that sucks. But then it's like, no, that was a father going to pick up his daughter. That was a mother who just got a new job. Like these are the people. So I was saying, if they made a school shooting movie, would that shine a light on gun violence and the way we need it? Because I think similar to when people see it, they can hear it. When they see it, similar to in civil rights, when they start showing these videos of black people being attacked by dogs and spraying by hoses, and the young girls coming out of after the Birmingham bombing, things like that helped change for me. I always heard it helped change the heart of America. Like there's like, okay, now that little girl, even though she's black, looks like my little daughter, so maybe that's what they need to do. So if you got any writers out there, screenwriters, do a school shooting movie. Elementary. You get some backlash, but it'll get picked up. That'll be a hard one to watch. Most people wouldn't watch it.
That's what they needed.
Yeah.
Why can't if it's controversial? Why is it controversial? You can see people getting shot in the street, on TV, on movies, and all this stuff blown up. Taking all this stuff. John Wick 7, Fast 22. But when it's kids, and this is more closely related to real life, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Good combo, man.
Yes, indeed. So is it on me? Since you got two
Razi's last.
Yeah, if I get one.
You went first, and now you're last.
So last year, Lawrence Fishburne did an interview where he admitted, I don't know if this was his first time admitting it or not, but he admitted that during his first marriage, when he was like 23 years old, I think his wife was 21, he said it was a volatile relationship and he abused her at times. And like I say, I don't know if it's hard for me to imagine that this is his very first time admitting this, but if he's admitted it before, it seems like it didn't hold him back because he's been in a ton of movies since his 20s. You know what I mean? So I don't know, maybe he said he went to therapy for it and everything like that, and he's done everything he's needed to do to no longer be that person that he was. So my question is, because we always talk about, we talk about R. Kelly and a lot of other celebrities and the bad things they've done. What is unforgivable to you when it comes to these celebrities? Like, is it abuse? Because I stopped judging people who remain fans of celebrities that do bad things because, like, you know, what was it, last year when Dr. Dre performed at the Super Bowl? I was excited about that. Knowing he has a history of beating up T. Barnes and beating up Michelle A. and more than likely beating up his ex-wife. You know, I'm a Florida State fan. The quarterback that won the last national championship there, Jameis Winston, possibly was alleged to have raped someone. So I just want to know, and yes, I do draw the line at rape, but the details on that one was, I don't know. It's just, it wasn't concrete as some of the other stuff. So where do you draw the line on your celebrities and entertainers? What do you consider unforgivable? Because like I say, with Lawrence Fishburne, he obviously was able to move past that and had a fairly successful career.
There is no line. That's the problem. It's every situation is different. It's
case by case.
Yeah, it's case by case. It's, you know, we talked about Kanye and like I canceled him for just talking reckless because I was like, you know, I got to get this platform away from him. I canceled R. Kelly while he was still out and was like, I can't have him that platform. I can't give him, you know, that celebrity status and be able to kind of hurt these girls and that type of thing. And there's a difference of canceling them or saying I don't support them while they are free. And if they go to jail, like I said, once R. Kelly went to jail, I was like, man, okay, I can listen to it now, you know, type thing. It's like, so it really is case by case by case with it. But what I will say is things that perk up my ears to be like, okay, I got to really search this to see, am I rocking with this person or not, is, like you said, a rape case, sexual assault, domestic violence, like those things like that, you know, grooming, like the Flash, pedophilia, those types of things. Like, I've got to look at that and be like, what's going on with that, right? But, you know, it's pedophilia, I think, is one probably that is draw the line on, like, oh, if that come out, that it's there. But I mean, people still, that nobody was able to prove Michael Jackson and people still rock with him. Right? I mean, there's folks that say it happens, there's people that say it didn't, but when it ultimately what it comes down to is people still rock with him. But at this point, he's dead, so I'm rock with his music. I mean, he can't hurt anybody anymore anyway. So, you know, I think that's the other part about it is my gauge really is, can they continue doing this? Like, does me supporting them let them continue to do whatever they were doing? So if they are a celebrity, does me continue to support them, continue to let them get that platform and be at those events and be moving those circles and everything like that? I need them ostracized if that's what they're doing, right? But if it's a domestic violence case that they're getting help, they hit them, you know, what remember when I was asking, I was like, how many times did he hit her? Did he hit her once? So like it's a little bit of that. Like if it was like one time he's going to get help and his lady's staying with him and she's standing by him, that type of thing. I'm like, I ain't canceling him for that. Like, you know, I can't care more than you, boo. I'm sorry. Like, you know, so there's also that. So it really is just kind of, it's case by case, man. So many hot takes in that.
Yeah. We here at Three Brothers No Sense do not support domestic violence, but we also don't necessarily support just canceling somebody. You know, we're not going to, you know, make excuses for people. We want people to be held accountable. I think that's at the end of the day. I'm with Razi. I think it's a gauge. You take it on case by case because it's so easy to be judgmental. It's so easy to just call somebody right or wrong. Let's go back to your original person, Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne is probably going on 70?
70s. Yeah, probably going on 80.
Yeah, so let's say 70. So we're saying 50 years ago he was married. Probably if he was in Hollywood or something like that, I sometimes look at your environment, right? Like I look at the signs of the times. You know, what were people doing then? And I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or different, but if that's the environment where women and men are just used to fighting each other and You know, he don't love you if he don't hit you like that. Women have said that. And that didn't come from anywhere. That was a part of the time. That was a culture. Now, unfortunately, I hate that our women had to subject themselves to that. But at the same time, there were men who were taught, well, you know, you gotta keep her in check. You gotta use a stiff arm. Like those were things that people were taught.
Color Purple, right? It's like you gotta beat her. Like they literally told each other that. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was. Sometimes you're a victim of the times. You're caught up in the moment. Yeah, there were men at that time that weren't beating their wives or vice versa, like whatever it was. So I'm not making an excuse, but I'm like, if that was the thing. Now, if he was out here iking her, you know, knocking her out and, you know, making her pass out, all those kind of things, and it was just consistent, you know, Razi said it, and I hate to say it, repeat him, like, how many times did he hit her? You know, was that something they were doing? And I said it a few weeks ago. There's a difference in being a victim and being a participant. So if she's fighting him or she's used to fighting with him, like she starts it, he starts it, like that. This is how the dynamics of their relationship. She starts it, he finishes it. You know, it's if they're used to fighting, this is what they do. I hate those relationships, but that's how they get down. Like there's some people that just get down like that. And it's cool until he gets down a little too much. You know, they can fight 5 times, but the 5th time he hits a little too hard and she goes to the hospital. There's a problem. You know, like, was it a problem the first 5 times? Does the family have a problem with it today? So for me, and I'm not excusing, I'm just saying, I think looking at something like that, you look at it case by case. What's going on? What's the norm? You know, I think about us growing up in the 90s and stuff like that, how you were growing up, we were way more. This show would be 20 times different if they had podcasts in 1999 and we were 40 something years old in 1999 by the way black men were taught to think in 1999 versus today. If we listen to this show from 1999 today, we would be canceled because the way we thought back then would be completely different. So for me, it's case by case, but I think it all starts with people who prey on other people. Like when you go looking for a victim, so pedophilia, you know, if you're molesting or harassing somebody, and you're taking advantage of a person, like you're beating this woman, you're manipulating her mind. I Tina's head up. Like that's unforgivable. The way he got in her head, R. Kelly manipulating these young girls, you know, I can't get past that. If Mike was, and then you have to prove it. You know, when it's just hearsay, I don't know if Mike did it. I don't know if he didn't do it. You know, but that's just it's I think that's a decision we just have to make if you think he did it or if you think he didn't do it. Now, if they would have proved Mike did it, let's hypothetically, if they prove Mike did it, you said pedophilia, Byron, I'm assuming you're going to say pedophilia, would you have canceled Mike then? Yeah, like the unknown, you know. Because
he had the whole group. Yeah.
You know, you got to prove it. Like we can just hearsay, like, you know, well, he molested kids. Yeah, it's hearsay. And maybe you're less likely to believe it because you don't want to believe it, but you still got to prove it. But like when they show, if they would have showed Ike Turner beating the shit out of Tina on a, stage and they were fighting, it's like, nah, he beat the shit out of that chick. Like that's just wrong. I can't forgive him for that. Like that's just wrong. I can't see, and even a man fighting, like them fighting, but like you beating the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, it's like the teacher conversation we talked about, right? It's like if she had done just enough to get the girl off her, is a little different than her like wailing on the girl, right? Like I think that's the same thing with guys.
Yeah, like it's. I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I'm just saying like you took it too far.
It's kind of wild how Ike Turner in his interviews explain why he hit Tina sometimes. Like, go back and watch some of those videos. It's comical only because Like, nothing about hitting a woman is comical, but the fact that he didn't think it, like, he's explaining
He's
it.
justified. He justified.
Yeah, like, that's why. Like, why you don't get it? Yeah. He said, I would ask her what's wrong like 1 or 2 times, and the third time, it's like, I gotta hit her. So, I just want to tell the Inspire You audience, though, the whole Razi asking how many times he hit her, that was during like our first season of the show. I think the question was, if you're out with your wife and your family at a restaurant and there's a couple of tables from you and the man hits her, are you jumping in? And Razi famously asks, does he hit her one time, or does he keep it? Because if he hit her one time, I'm gonna keep eating my meal. I don't know what episode that was, but we got to find a title and have y'all go back to it. But y'all answers are correct. It's definitely individual, and also, you know, I think some people justify it as they're able to separate the art from the person. And so some people do that as well. So there are some people that even if Mike had been proven to conduct, pedophilia activities, that they still would have listened to his music because they would have said, okay, what he did was messed up, but I like his music and I enjoyed listening to the music. I don't support him. And then for like people just have different parameters. For some people, it has to be proven. For some people, the allegations is enough. Like Kirk Franklin was addicted to porn, and when you look at his target audience, for some of them, that might have been too much for them. Like, hey, I can't rock with that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So,
but
it's different for everybody.
It's slander. Let's say that somebody just said like one of his old band members who he didn't like anymore just leaked that rumor, and now your career is over.
Yeah.
And when you brought up the point of, they can separate it. What it made me think about is how we look at people who are Trump supporters. Who's like, yeah, he says some crazy stuff, but he's a great guy because he does this, and this. And that's when it's like, at a certain point, where do you take your stance? Like, do you like, look, he's racist, he does this, he's misogynistic, he's divisive. I can't, when I see you support him, I look at you differently. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's a part of it. Can I go out proudly and say, I still support this person? Not because I'm trying to be cool, but it's like, how can you defend Michael Jackson molesting kids and you got 2 kids of your own? Mm-hmm. If this was your child that he did this to, would you not want him to burn? And would you not want for anybody to support him to burn? Like, why would you continue to support this person? Once again, once it's proven. And so I think that's part of it too, is I try to put myself in the victim's shoes and like those things is, if I talk a lot of shit and I hit on my husband or my boyfriend and he punched me in the goddamn face, it's, do I feel the same?
I think a tough one for everybody was Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
That was tough for, like, it took, for some people, it took for them to reach like 40, 50 accusers. Yeah.
Look, first 20.
The first 10 to 20, everybody's like, they lie.
He tried to buy
Bill
NBC.
ain't rape nobody. Yeah. It started getting around 30, 35. He was like, man, damn. I don't know. Yeah. So I think that was a tough one for a lot of people.
Yeah, because it was hard to separate.
Yeah, it was hard to separate it. But I think what ends up happening, though, the type of art helps you be able to separate it as well, right? If they're an actor and they do a good performance and it doesn't remind you of what they did, then it's easy to separate and say, I can still watch that movie. Versus, like you talk about R. Kelly, and it feels like he's throwing it in your face, the way he's talking about it and everything else. It's very hard to keep supporting him even after it happens, because once you hear it. So, it again, going back to it's case by case, like, I might be able to support some stuff, but not others, and that type of stuff. And you're
singular. Mm-hmm. So if you're singular, like if R. Kelly's making music, that's his music. That's him putting his feelings, his words and stuff like that out there. Now, maybe because he was R&B and it's super sexual, it didn't help. But let's say R. Kelly would have been Kirk Franklin. R. Kelly would have been making gospel music and you would have heard. You know, but like his songs got you through tough times. Like there's a special connection.
He made a couple songs like that, as a matter of fact.
And so it's hard for people to do that. But like you said, with Bill Cosby, he created a character. He's not himself. You know, it is, think about, and you are probably one of the most popular shows growing up, TGI Friday, was Full House. And Bob Saget was not Danny Taylor. Or whatever his name. Like they were
Tanner. Danny Tanner.
Tanner. Yeah. Two completely different people. Like he was this comedian, and I'm not saying the same thing, but he was this comedian who was like lewd and disruptive and disrespectful, but he became America's dad. That was a character he was playing that had nothing to do with who he was or who he was trying to portray in real life. He actually didn't want to play that role. So you separate him from his role because it's a role, because he was in another movie. You know, you got Bill Cosby as Heathcliff Huxtable. You have him as the dude from I Spy, I think, whatever, like the blaxploitation movies and stuff like that back in the day. These are completely different people. He's playing characters. So I think it is different too. The art form, and who they're portraying, and like Ice Cube talking about bitches and hoes, and you out here beating up women and showing that you don't respect black women. It kind of falls in line with the image that you were already portraying. Yeah, I can kind of say, you know what? You told me you were this dude.
Yeah.
You know? When you put it in my face.
So does that make it easier? Does that make it easier to keep rocking with him and listen to the music if you kind of knew it was happening anyway? Like they weren't putting on a character. It wasn't.
No, because I think that was their true self. Like if you're giving me something that's a portrayal of you, like a movie or a show, that's not you.
It's what the director told you to do and how you.
Somebody else could have played that role. But when you're writing your music, writing your songs, this is who you are. You are Razi. First album called Razi. I am Razi. Like, and you talking about beating up on women? Like, okay, you're Razi. You beat up on women. Like, you know, you got a song called How Many Times Did He Hit Her? Like, that's who you are. You know, I gotta take you for face value and decide if I accept that.
Great points.
Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and wrap it up, fellas. Let's do our parting shots.
I got two quick things. One, Equalizer 3 is out. We were talking about Denzel, the trailer for that, and it looks really, really good. So if you're a fan of that Equalizer series or Denzel in general, check that out. I think it comes out around August time frame. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm super excited about Haley Van Lith going to LSU. LSU next year is going to be a powerhouse in women's college basketball. So again, WNBA is kicking off. So kind of make sure you guys check that out. I know the NBA championship or those are happening right now. So some good games happening. You guys know I don't start watching until the championships and the playoffs. So you know, I'm all in now. I'm like, woo, basketball, yay! So yeah, it's been good. But I'm excited, man, for women's basketball in general, kind of coming into its own, and just women's sports in general. I'm not gonna just say basketball, because women's sports in general is coming up and getting better and better, and larger crowds and everything like that. So hats off to you ladies for just going out and grinding and growing your platforms. So that's all, man.
Speaking of ladies, I want to give two shout outs to black women, and that is one. God, I'm drawing a blank now. What's the quarterback for Philadelphia Eagles? Is it Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
His agent got him that very nice deal, and then about a few days later, Lamar Jackson, his mom, helped negotiate his deal. So two black women getting two brothers paid, becoming like some of the highest, if not the highest, NFL players in the league. I think Jalen Hurts' contract is the biggest, or it's like the biggest guaranteed or something like that. Yeah. But it's up there. So shout out to those two women, especially with Lamar, because a lot of people were calling Lamar stupid and he should get a real agent. And like, yeah, it's his mom, but if I'm not mistaken, his mom like has a background. I think she worked at like Merrill Lynch or something like that. So it's not just like she was watching soap operas all day. Like she know a little something, man. What you got?
That's gonna be the best and worst thing that happened to black mothers ever. Because back in the day, everybody was trying to send their son to the league.
Yeah.
Now every black mama about to be an agent.
You need to let me be the agent, like that Lamar mama. She got him paid.
Ain't nobody gonna take care of you like your mama. It's gonna happen. You gonna see it.
The other thing I got, man, is we talk about shows a lot on here. Dear Mama, documentary on FX that streams on Hulu. I am a huge Tupac fan, and I admittedly was reluctant to watch this documentary. In fact, it was 3 episodes in before I even decided to give it a chance, because I felt like I know everything about Tupac. They've had so many documentaries about him. Do I really need to watch another? I watched it, man, and it is, to me, phenomenal. But don't take my word for it. Check it out. Everybody who I've seen that has watched it, they feel the same way. Like, it's revealing things that you didn't know, no matter how big of a Pac fan you were. And it's not just focusing on him. It's focusing on his mom, Afeni Shakur, as well. So check that out, streaming on Hulu. It's 5 episodes. They've aired 3. By the time you hear this episode, they will have aired 4. So check that out.
Yeah, I'll second that before Ferg jumps in. It's really good, and just super surprised at some of the nuggets in there, talking about the Black Panthers and all of that, and the parts about Fred Hammond and COINTELPRO and all that. Like, it's cool to hear all that.
COINTELPRO was greasy, dog.
Yeah, man.
They were greasy, man. And you know what? That's a whole nother episode. Go ahead, Fred. Yeah, they were greasy, though.
So, first of all, I want to say happy Asian American Heritage Month. Excuse me, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So I don't think we ever celebrated that before. But the reason I brought it up is because I was watching, I want to say First Take or one of the shows on ESPN today, and one of the sportscasters, I want to say his name is Pablo Torre. He was talking about the, Asian American, Hawaiian, Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And the reason I'm having a problem saying it is because he's like, think about how they're trying to cram all this into one month. Like, there's so many different cultures. There's so many different, like, if you just like Asian, if you're thinking about Asians, just period. Japanese, Chinese, Korean, like, there's so many different people, some subgroups. Is like, he wants to urge people to look at them differently, not just even though he's proud of his brothers and sisters, but it's like, don't box us together, give us our props. So, but I did want to send a shout out to that, but also want to, it seems like every month or something like that, we find ourselves, we're at the point in the program where we're praying for the family members and asking for prayers of loved ones. So, this week, my chapter has suffered 2 losses. We lost one of our pro fights from Resolute, Curtis Lee Echols III. His homegoing service will be in Atlanta this weekend. And I personally lost my line brother, my 6, Melvin Jefferson III, this week. And I'll be going to Detroit to celebrate his homegoing with my line brothers next weekend. Mel was a 6 on our line. He actually was a person who convinced me to move to Houston and who I stayed with when I first moved here. Very loving young man. He will be missed. Our line is coming together to, celebrate the loss in his life, but also my heart goes out to his family, his mom and dad, and of course, Erica and the kids. we're here for you. He will be missed. I know it's a tough loss, I don't know what to say. So with that being said, we're going to have a moment of silence for these two young brothers, and then we'll go ahead and close it on out. Thank you. Once again, Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. Remember the 6 rules of podcast: listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again.